I hope you're enjoying this beautiful sunshine in Ohio and a wonderful day wherever in the spaceship you are. Please consider liking and forwarding this message and sharing it so that it gets to the intended. Senator Sherrod Brown. I am on your email list. I voted for you, not that that should matter in this case. But my divorce was begun and filed in 2016. And then in that same year, I filled out all the paperwork to the kids, to the school that I walked them to, that I cooked for and cleaned for and taught them homework with. And they were illegally took from me. Now, we hear stories about how if kids are taken from adults crossing a border to Mexico, everybody gets upset. But I'm here in Akron, Ohio. I am in Summit County. And my kids were took from me simply because the accusation was made. Not because there was any evidence supporting it. In fact, when I willfully succumbed to the testing, all the evidence that came in would suggest that the other party was completely lying. But here's the hitch. The other party hired the most expensive attorney in the county, who happened to be the largest campaign donor to the judge. So who do you think the judge cares about? The stay-at-home housewife, who nobody seems to recognize her as such because I look too masculine? We have systemic hate crime taking place in Summit County's domestic court. And a hate crime is a crime where, reasonably speaking, everybody in that group could be afraid, right? So if I beat to death a homosexual outside of a gay club, it's reasonable that all the gay fellas in that club are going to be fearful for their well-being, hence a hate crime. Marriage rates have been plummeting for a long time. There is a movement called MGTOW, men going their own way. They're tired of the fact that women get to say whatever accusation they want, and because a basic part of their mammalian brain wants to white knight and jump in there and save the day, they forget about a small idea called the United States Constitution. They forget about an idea of more than 500 years of Western civilization's history. You cannot make somebody prove their innocence without any supported facts. Yet, that's exactly what the court did. And then when they found out they got it wrong, they did not correct. They further abused me and misused me, hoping to find the moment where I would trip and fall that they could use as an excuse to justify their wrong dealings. Here's the next fact. My kids are coming up on 3 years of parental alienation, which is child abuse. The last 11 months, they've been not allowed any phone calls, any interactions, nothing. Now, I went from the stay-at-home housewife who filled out all the paperwork, including the paperwork at the school that said that I was a stay-at-home housewife that my deadbeat husband signed. Yet that was never pulled. I have an attorney who took money, didn't tell me the court date showed up, said I don't want to represent him. Now, I've contacted the police, I've contacted the sheriff's department, the CPSCA thinks that I owe child support because, of course, it was awarded in that first moment when the court was completely disregarding my constitutional rights. I have 2 attorneys that never could understand that I was a stay-at-home housewife because of their sexism, and as such, they didn't go get the money from the breadwinner of the household. So the first one fired me, and the second one just didn't do anything and just stole the money. And I didn't even show up to the court in the first place with an attorney because guess what? You're not supposed to fight with your spouse. And just because one party is failing, it doesn't mean the other party should fail too. And as I've told my kids, did you fight with somebody you love? Is that what you should do? When somebody you love is failing, you're supposed to fight with them back, or should you treat them with more love and tenderness? Now, that is a systemic hate crime committed by the Summit County Court, domestic court, to such a degree, with such frequency, that when I called the Bar Association to try to find my advocate, somebody who would take this case up, I'm common. I am exceptionally common. And then I hear tell that all of these wrongs are going to go unchecked because the state of Ohio has a made-up rule called sovereignty of the king, where we pretend we can't hold our governments accountable. The whole reason more United States citizens don't pick up the second-degree arms and violently take back our rights is because we believe in our system's ability to have checks and balances. We believe in our system's ability to correct its errors and address its mistakes. I also believe that the whole reason that the attorneys have to get a Juris Doctorate and have to pass a bar is because when they willfully do something this egregious and this horrific for so long, that they're held to a higher standard of accountability. I've reached out to the county prosecutor. I've reached out to the sheriff's department. I've reached out to CSPCA, which knows that the child abuse has been ongoing and is still ongoing, and they don't do anything. They took away my driver's license because in the state of Ohio, when you're behind on child support, they start taking away all your licensure in the state, somehow putting you at higher risk. And let's say I do drive and I get in an accident, it's not my fault. It's going to be my fault because I was driving illegally. And then whatever happens has right to all my assets in line first before the child support could even get it. So they're cutting their nose off to spite their face, and they're doing it to go after a federal handout, right? For locking up deadbeat dads. So Sherrod Brown, when I read your email talking about, Senator, about how this landmark beautiful case made it 50-50, I didn't have a lot of faith or joy, because there's been a long-standing problem in the great state of Ohio, right? Our court system said how we fund our schools is illegal twice, yet nothing changes. And I've seen plenty of Democratic programs put in around by local Democrats that are brilliant ideas, but then nobody ever gets to actually go through the program, so they didn't have to fund it, didn't cost them anything, and they can just rattle on their propaganda speeches and be a hero. Senator, I would appreciate you to do your job. I would appreciate you to show yourself to be competent. I'd appreciate if you would be the champion of my 4 kids who went to bed last night being abused and woke up this morning continuing their child abuse. Thank you for your time. And I do hope, as you expressed in your email, that this is something that you care about. And I look forward to speaking with you. God bless.